In the quiet, unobserved moments of your daily life, a subtle erosion may be taking place. You might be actively dismantling the very reputation you wish to build, completely unaware of the damage being done. These are not grand, catastrophic failures, but rather a collection of seemingly harmless habits, almost invisible in their routine, that slowly and systematically chip away at the respect people hold for you. The most concerning part is the sheer repetition. You could be enacting these very patterns each and every day, unconsciously sabotaging your image in both your personal circles and your professional life, wondering why opportunities seem to fade and connections feel less solid. This video is designed to bring these silent saboteurs into the light. We will meticulously examine the 4 most common toxic habits that corrode respect and authority. If your goal is to be a person who is taken seriously, genuinely respected, and positively remembered for your character and integrity, then understanding and systematically eliminating each one of these behaviors is not just beneficial, it is essential. Before we delve into this crucial introspection, I want to offer a special and heartfelt thank you. This channel, Stoicism Every Day, exists and thrives solely because of you. Your engagement is its lifeblood. Every single comment that shares a personal insight, every like that shows appreciation, every time you share a video with someone you care about, it all provides the genuine, tangible motivation to continue creating this content with ever-increasing depth and sincere intention. Witnessing this community grow, engage in profound reflection, and actively transform their lives is the core driving force behind everything we do. So from the very bottom of my heart, thank you for choosing to walk with us on this continuous journey of self-knowledge and daily evolution. I am truly and deeply grateful for your presence here. The disappearance of respect is rarely a sudden event or a matter of simple bad luck. It is almost always the direct result of a series of small, repeated actions or telling omissions that, over a period of time, accumulate into a heavy, silent cost. If there is one philosophical framework that provides the clarity to see these self-destructive patterns for what they are, it is undoubtedly Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor of Rome, wrote in his private meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This powerful sentiment applies directly to our topic today. It urges us to worry less about the image we project and far more about the concrete actions we take. Similarly, the great Stoic thinker Seneca wisely noted that one of the clearest signs of a maturing wisdom is the courageous ability to observe oneself with radical honesty. This is precisely what we are going to do together today. Look within, without the masks we wear for the world, and without the comfortable excuses we tell ourselves. We will identify and unpack 4 specific habits that might seem small and insignificant on the surface, but possess a surprising power to erode your external image, and perhaps even more tragically, your internal self-confidence. I speak from personal experience when I say that throughout various chapters of my own life, I have made every single one of these mistakes. It was only when I began to consciously apply Stoic principles to my daily interactions that I started to witness a real and meaningful change. A change manifested in more genuine respect from others, a greater sense of personal balance, and a newfound clarity in all of my relationships. So if you are ready for this level of honest, potentially uncomfortable, but ultimately liberating reflection, I encourage you to grab your coffee, get comfortable, and open your mind. Because what follows may challenge you, but it also holds the key to a more respected and integrated life. The first habit, gossiping, the silent poison of relationships. The first behavior that systematically destroys respect is also perhaps the most common and the most dangerously underestimated, gossiping. On the surface, gossip often feels harmless, almost like a social currency. It masquerades as casual water cooler talk, an innocent distraction, or a way to bond with others. But here is the raw, unvarnished truth that we must confront. Whoever is willing to gossip to you will, inevitably, gossip about you. When you willingly participate in this cycle, even without any overt malicious intent, you are sending a powerful and deeply negative message to everyone within earshot. That message is, I'm not a trustworthy confidant. I cannot be relied upon to keep sensitive information private. I derive entertainment or validation from feeding on the failures and misfortunes of others. I recall a distinct phase during my college years where gossip was woven into the very fabric of the social environment. Conversations routinely revolved around dissecting other people's lives, their choices, and their relationships. It was a collective pastime. I remember a specific classmate, let's call her Sarah, who was always more reserved and private than the rest. One day, a deeply personal detail about her, a crush on another student in our class, leaked into our group. Within a shockingly short time, this intimate piece of her story spread like wildfire and was transformed into a common joke. The change in Sarah was palpable. She shut down completely and quietly distanced herself from the entire group. Witnessing the silent, profound impact this had on her left a permanent mark on me. It was a stark lesson that gossip is never, ever just a casual conversation. It always, without exception, leaves a scar on someone. The Stoic philosophers, and particularly Epictetus, issued clear warnings against this very behavior. His teachings encourage us to practice a disciplined restraint. If you hear something, do not repeat it. If the matter does not directly concern you or your duties, do not speak on it. And perhaps most importantly, do not even lend your ear to it. Engaging in gossip diminishes your character in the eyes of others, and people notice this, even if they never say a word aloud. They begin to wonder, often subconsciously, if this person speaks about our mutual friend in such a way, what must they say about me when I'm not in the room? Being a person worthy of respect begins with making a daily, conscious choice. Refuse to pass on information that does not build up, elevate, or improve a situation. Actively prefer conversations that inspire, that analyze ideas and events, rather than those that pick apart people. There is an old and profound proverb that serves as a perfect guide. Small minds discuss people. Average minds discuss events. Great minds discuss ideas. Every single day, you have the power to choose which of these minds you wish to emulate and be a part of. The second habit, being unreliable, the word that loses its value. The second habit that erodes the respect of others, often with startling speed, is a fundamental lack of reliability. We are living in an age saturated with promises. Everyone is quick to make them, but very few follow through with consistent action. We promise to be at an event, we promise to help with a project, we promise to change a behavior. But when the critical moment of action arrives, we often offer flimsy excuses, cite sudden distractions, or, perhaps worst of all, offer nothing but silence. And here is the hard, unavoidable truth you must confront. When your word loses its value, you, as a person, lose value in the eyes of others, right along with it. There was a significant time in my life where I mistakenly believed that being flexible and spontaneous was a superior virtue. I would make plans enthusiastically and then cancel them at the last minute with a casual text. I would say, I'll definitely be there, with conviction, only to decide in the moment that something else was more appealing. This pattern continued until one specific incident illuminated the true cost of my behavior. A good friend, let's call her Emily, spent weeks meticulously preparing for her birthday party. She carefully curated the guest list, the decorations, and every special detail. I, of course, assured her I would be there, proclaiming I wouldn't miss it for anything. But when the day arrived, I became tied up with another, less important activity and lost track of time. By the time I realized my error, the party was in full swing. I sent a rushed, poorly constructed text message trying to justify my absence. Her reply was polite, but carried a distinct chill. In that moment, I felt the shift deeply. I hadn't merely missed a social event. I had broken a small but significant piece of our trust. The relationship cooled for a time because she understood, quite rightly, that my words carried little weight. The Stoic philosophers placed immense value on the honor of one's word, viewing it as a non-negotiable pillar of virtue. Seneca wrote extensively on this, noting that nothing is more valuable than the commitment of a person of integrity. Your word is your personal contract with the world. Reliability is not built through elaborate, beautiful promises made in the moment. It is constructed painstakingly through small, consistent, and often mundane actions. It is arriving on time, every time. It is responding to messages as agreed. It is meeting deadlines without needing to be reminded. It is being transparent and honest about your limits from the beginning. And above all else, it is about being brutally honest with yourself. If you know you cannot follow through on a commitment, have the courage to decline it respectfully. If a genuine, unexpected emergency arises, communicate this with respect and with as much advance notice as possible. People do not expect perfection from you. They expect consistency. In a professional environment, this lack of reliability can be particularly devastating. You can be immensely talented, incredibly intelligent, and deeply charismatic, but if you consistently fail to do what you say you will do, you will slowly but surely be excluded from the most serious opportunities and conversations. Because at the end of the day, genuine respect is born from trust, and trust is born from the repeated demonstration of your integrity, even in the smallest, seemingly most insignificant details. The third habit: interrupting others. When your anxiety speaks louder than your respect. Sometimes the loss of respect from others does not stem from a single large mistake, but from a small, discourteous gesture that we repeat endlessly without a second thought. One of the most silent and yet deeply damaging of these habits is interrupting others while they are speaking. On the surface, it seems like a trivial, almost innocent social faux pas. After all, who among us hasn't done it? We often tell ourselves we are merely participating actively in the conversation, being dynamic, or contributing our valuable insight. But the act of interrupting, even when completely unintentional, carries a much heavier and more negative subconscious message than we realize. That message is, what I have to say is more important, more relevant, or more urgent than what you are saying right now. And that message, when repeated over weeks, months, and years, systematically erodes the respect others have for you. Early in my professional career, I was a prime example of this behavior. I was anxious, eager, and brimming with ideas, constantly wanting to prove my worth and intelligence. In meetings and conversations, I would barely allow a colleague to finish their sentence. If I disagreed with a point, I would interrupt to correct it. If a thought or suggestion sparked in my mind, I would interrupt to voice it immediately, fearing I would forget. I was consistently cutting off the other person's train of thought, prioritizing my own voice over theirs. This continued until one day, my manager at the time asked to speak with me privately. She was calm but firm, and she said something I have never forgotten. "You are always so ready to speak, but I notice you are rarely truly ready to listen." Her words struck me with the force of lightning, because I knew instantly that she was right. I wasn't listening to understand. I was merely waiting for my turn to speak. And that behavior has a name. It is egocentrism, disguised as enthusiasm. The Stoics valued deep, attentive listening as a fundamental form of wisdom and strength. Epictetus, who began his life as a slave and rose to become one of antiquity's most revered philosophers, taught a simple but profound lesson. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. From that pivotal moment with my manager, I began the diligent practice of what I now call Stoic listening. I made a conscious rule for myself. Whenever I felt that familiar, urgent impulse to interrupt rising within me, I would take a slow, deep breath and ask myself a simple question. Does this absolutely need to be said right now, at this very second? Or can I exercise humility and patience and listen fully until the person has finished their thought? This single change in attitude completely transformed the way people began to perceive and interact with me. I became someone viewed as more respectful, more trustworthy, and more emotionally balanced, not because I was talking more, but because I was truly listening. To listen with full presence is a sign of immense inner strength, not passivity. If you genuinely wish to earn the respect of others, you must practice intentional silence. Listen attentively and with your whole being. Make a conscious effort to let the other person finish their complete thought, because when you learn to listen with genuine presence, you not only understand situations and people better, you also strengthen your relational bonds and gain something increasingly rare in our noisy world: true consideration. The fourth habit: complaining excessively. When negativity becomes your identity. Let's be honest, we have all complained. We complain about the traffic, about our boss, about the weather, about politics. In the moment, complaining feels like a necessary release valve, an almost therapeutic venting of frustration. However, when complaining evolves from an occasional occurrence into a persistent habit, it ceases to be a form of relief and becomes a heavy burden. A burden that you not only carry yourself, but also inevitably spread to everyone around you. Constant, unchecked complaining actively transforms the emotional environment around you. People will naturally start to pull away from you, often without even being able to articulate exactly why. It's not because you are a bad or unlikable person. It is because being in the constant presence of someone who persistently points out what is wrong without ever taking constructive action is emotionally and psychologically draining. It drains energy and optimism. I have lived through this negative cycle myself. There was a period where it felt like everything was a valid reason to complain. If it rained, I complained it was gloomy. If it was sunny and hot, I complained about the heat. If someone treated me unfairly, I would stew over the injustice for days, narrating the story to anyone who would listen. I was trapped in a loop of negativity until a close friend, with great courage and sincerity, sat me down and said, "It seems like nothing is ever quite good enough for you. Have you ever noticed that pattern?" My immediate reaction was defensive, but his words echoed in my mind for days afterward. They hurt because I knew, on some level, they were true. I had grown accustomed to playing the role of the victim, and the central problem with living as a perpetual victim is that you voluntarily give up your personal power to change your circumstances. The Stoics teach us something fundamentally empowering on this front. Their philosophy urges us, do not waste your energy complaining about reality. Instead, direct your efforts toward transforming what is within your reach to change, and practice accepting with serenity what is not within your control. This is the very essence of Stoic practice. The rain will not stop falling simply because you lament it. The traffic jam will not clear faster because you huff and puff behind the steering wheel. But your internal attitude and response to these events, that is entirely within your power to change. From the moment I began to observe my own patterns and consciously replace complaining with either actionable steps or serene acceptance, everything in my life began to change. If a work environment was truly toxic, I made a plan to leave. If a project went wrong, I focused on extracting the lesson from the failure. If there was no solution or outcome I could affect, I took a deep breath and mentally moved on. This shift did not make me a blindly naive optimist. It made me a lighter, more resilient and more pleasant person to be around. And the people around me started to notice this positive change immediately. If you want to know whether you might be trapped in this cycle of complaint, engage in a little honest self-reflection. Ask yourself, do my conversations focus more on problems or on potential solutions? Do my interactions with others leave them feeling energized and uplifted, or drained and downcast? Do I have a daily habit of practicing gratitude, or do I default to complaining out of mere habit? The human mind works much like a radar. it finds what you train it to look for. If you continually feed a negative outlook, the world will seem like a chaotic and hostile place. If you consciously train a constructive, solution-oriented outlook, you will begin to find opportunities and silver linings where before you saw only barriers and problems. Respect is also born from the general energy and vibration that you carry with you. No one, no matter how patient, can deeply respect someone who is always drowning in a sea of their own complaints. So starting today, I challenge you to implement one simple practice. Every single time you feel the urge to complain about something, pause and ask yourself this stoic question: is this situation under my control? If the answer is yes, then channel your energy into immediate and thoughtful action. If the answer is no, then practice the discipline of acceptance. This simple question, if applied with consistency and discipline, has the power to free your mind and reclaim your energy for what truly matters. If you have made it this far into the video, I offer you my sincere congratulations. It demonstrates a commendable willingness to engage in the hardest work there is, the work of looking within yourself with clear and honest eyes. Because the journey to gaining the authentic respect of others always begins with something much deeper and more fundamental: learning to respect yourself. Today, we have talked in depth about 4 pervasive habits that silently sabotage your image and your relationships. Gossiping destroys the trust that others place in you, marking you as unreliable. Being unreliable undermines the very value of your word, making your promises empty. Interrupting demonstrates a hidden ego and impatience, signaling that you value your own thoughts over those of others. Complaining excessively pushes people away and traps you in a cycle of negativity, making you a source of energy drain. The truly good news is that every single one of these habits can be identified, addressed, and replaced. They can be overcome with stoic discipline, replaced with active and empathetic listening, reinforced by unwavering personal integrity, and defeated through conscious and purposeful action. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." I would adapt that wisdom to say, the most powerful way to earn genuine respect is to consciously choose to be different from the majority. Strive to be someone who inspires trust, peace, and mindful presence in every interaction. And if you commit to taking just one small step each day, to reforming one habit at a time, you will begin to notice a subtle but profoundly powerful change in the way the world responds to you. Your relationships will deepen, your professional reputation will solidify, and you will cultivate a quiet self-respect that no external opinion can shake. Now, I want to hear from you. This is a community of practice, not just passive observation. Tell me, which of these 4 habits do you recognize most clearly in yourself? Leave the phrase, "I choose to be worthy of respect," in the comments below as a personal commitment to yourself. And then tell me specifically which habit you are most ready to begin transforming this week. Sharing this not only helps to solidify your own learning and intention, but also strengthens and inspires this entire community of growth that we are building together. If this video has helped you in any way, if it has offered you a moment of clarity, please give it a like, share it with someone in your life who you feel needs to hear this message. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, philosophy isn't treated as a dusty theoretical subject. It is a living, breathing practice designed to be applied to your real, everyday life. Thank you for your time and your courage. I will see you in the next video. And until then, always remember, you are the only one responsible for the energy you bring into the world. Make a conscious choice to bring only what builds up, what elevates, and what heals, and have the strength to leave everything else behind.